Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today it's time for a different map on GeoGuessr. I found this one today, US Capitals by Joseph Loeffel. Well, I think what that means is capitals of the 50 US states, although I'm not 100% sure, there's no description. As is relatively common knowledge, every state in the United States has a capital city, and not always the most famous city in the state, usually an administrative city. And so it's kind of known as being a difficult one to learn, all the state capitals. I'm sure it's covered in elementary education in the US, but for us outsiders, it's not always common knowledge. So I'd be curious to see if there are state flags here and state capital names. Perhaps we'll see the capitol buildings, and we'll have to deduce which states they're in. So I'm going to hit play. I'm not going to give myself a time limit on this one, but I will try and make a guess and keep things moving if we find ourselves getting stuck in a rut. So let's see how we do. Well, would you look at that? This is a fantastic building. And I think what I mean by a state capital, I mean, I have no idea if it is a state capital, but I assume maybe these US capital rounds are all right out front of the state capital buildings, in which case that would be fantastic. Now, we've got a state flag there, undoubtedly. The US state flags are all a bit different. Some of them, a lot of them are like this, though, with the blue background and a crest in the middle. Unfortunately, what that means, unless you know them very well, is that it's very hard to be able to tell them apart. Some states, like California, for example, has got a famous flag with a white background, a red bottom, and a bear on it. So if we saw that, we'd be singing. But unfortunately, it's not that one. We see here it says VT state employees. So that might be giving something away. VT, in terms of state abbreviations, I think stands for Vermont, but I wouldn't know. Not 100% sure. Otherwise, VT, I think Virginia Tech maybe, but that's the name of a college, not a state. So, state office building dedicated to the memory of Vermont veterans of all wars. Well, very good. And that's at 120 State Street. So, interesting. Look, I think we know which state we're in then. It's definitely Vermont. We've got here, what is this? Essex, Wyndham, Rutland, Windsor, Franklin. Very interesting. I wonder what those names are. If any of you know, that would be good to know, because they are very English names. Essex, Wyndham, Orange, Addison, Orleans, or Orléans is a French name. La Moelle is also French. Caledonia, that's a Scottish name. So I wonder if those are sort of, you know, the names of early settlers, famous early settlers in Vermont. Vermont is a northeastern state, so definitely sort of part of New England and so on. So let's get in there and have a look. Now, as for cities in Vermont, I've got absolutely no idea. So we'll have to get in there and have a look. This is Vermont here. So you've got Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts. Let's just take a look. Right. So Vermont, quite a small state, so that helps. What are the big looking towns here? We've got Rutland, Killington, Middlebury, Burlington, Montpelier, and Barre, and St. Johnsbury. Well, I've not heard of any of them, but Montpelier looks like it's maybe the biggest, and it's a sort of influx of all these major roads here. We've got the number 2 and the number 89. So let's just take a look in there and see what we can see. We've got Hubbard Park, Hubbard Tower. It's not a big one, is it? Main Street. Were we at Main Street? I can't remember. We did have an address, didn't we? Let's just have a look at this. State Office Building. Oh, State Street. 120 State Street. That was it. Worth looking. So we're not on Main Street. Main Street, Main Street, Elm Street, Hubbard Tower, State Street. Vermont State House. Yes. Well, this looks about right. Vermont State House. Gold-domed Capitol and Historic Art. Well, isn't that just fantastic? Let's just double check. Gold domed. Well, I mean, if that's not it, then it's going to be a seriously unlucky guess. And we've got here the sort of path leading down to the road. We are looking north at the building, so we're on State Street. And the building we're looking at here, which looks a lot smaller on Google Maps than it does otherwise, is the Vermont Dmv. Great. So the Department of Motor Vehicles in Vermont. Well, isn't that just a blessing? I've heard that those are not fun places to be. So I think we're in the right place. Let's go for the guess and see how we do. And look at that. We are just 2 yards away. So play next round. And I wonder what we can see here. This is also a... Yes, look at this. We're right in front of another state building, so that's great. This map set is fantastic then. It really is the state capitol buildings. So let me just see. Oh dear. There's nothing I can see there. Look, we've got another state flag. This looks like it's at half-mast, the U.S. flag, so not sure if there's been a problem there. Today, this also looks like New England, so we've got here Capitol Ave. We got the other one without moving, but we can move, just to be clear, so that's good. Capitol Ave. And yeah, would you look at this, we're at the top of this long road. Well, I think I'm going to have to get out of here because I'm not close enough to the state building to make anything out. And I just hope, I'm assuming, that there will be a street sign in here somewhere. The north, the 420, and the speed limit. North 420. Okay. Capitol Ave and Minx. Does that say Minx? I think it says Minx. What is this? Let's do lunch. 102.1 FM. WKYL. VFW Post. That might, if that's a post office, that'll tell us the state, surely. So let's get in here. VFW. That is strange then that it isn't. VFW Post again, honor guard. Bloody hell. Look at this patriotic vehicle. Well, that's funny. It doesn't say then. So VF. Well, we know we're not in Vermont anymore. Excuse me. I just have to shut a door. Pardon me. Back. That is my laundry machine. VFW. Okay. Well, didn't get that actually. Oh no, goodness! I just should have had a look at the back of that truck. Whoops. Let's get in there. See what that says. It doesn't say anything, does it? Goodness, that's a bit weird. Luckily, it stayed parked there. Thanks to the van sponsors. Frankfort Parks, Recreation and Historic Sites. Frankfurt. Is that in Kentucky? Frankfurt. I've definitely heard of Frankfurt as a state capital. That is and it's also definitely another Sporcle round coming up, I think, is this the state capitals. Maybe it's one I've already done, in fact. But I think Frankfurt is the state capital of one of these places. I'm thinking Kentucky, but it might be Tennessee. I don't know. These all look a bit... There's Franklin there. Maybe I'm thinking of that. This... I did think, though, that this would be more... This looks like a more sort of northeastern state to me, but maybe that's wrong. So we need to get back on the main path here because this is going to take too long otherwise. Now let's try and look at the roads. We've got here some road markings. Come on, let's get up here, GeoGuessr, please. Oh, and the seasons have changed. Yes, look at this. It's definitely a seasonal place. So the northeast makes sense. We've got 6420. 6420. Any sign of a state here? As soon as we get the state, you know, we're singing really. So 420. Look at this lovely bridge we're over here. I think we'll see some more signs in a second. 60 and 420 again. What is this? Anything here? It looks like there's slightly more down here, so I'm going to go this way, not without checking out that billboard first though. There's a couple of billboards there actually, which might give some things away. What does this say? Frankfort. Yeah, Frankfurt. Or Frankfort. At East Main Street. So we're definitely... The town is called Frankfurt. So which state is Frankfurt in? That is the question. Right, we are getting there. And I should know this because it's an unusual name. It's... well, you know, it's a European name, isn't it? So, you know, famously Frankfurt, Germany. I think it's a different spelling to Frankfurt, Germany. But nonetheless, we are Main Street. So we're on Main Street. I mean, for goodness sake, we should be close here. We just... How are we going to get the state? We could also go to the map and just have a look at all these states. I'm sure the Americans amongst you are screaming at me now. The state. Maguire Building. Oh dear. Franklin. No, it's not Nashville. Maybe Frankfurt is like, maybe it is up northeast. Maybe it's like Massachusetts or something. And I'm just, you know, I'm thinking it should be Boston, obviously, but it isn't, or something like that. Providence, Rhode Island, Hartford, Connecticut. I don't see a Frankfurt anywhere. Is Frankfurt down in the Carolinas? Possibly. I think it might be, actually. Now it's ringing a bell. I'm making it all up, though. Who knows? Greensboro. Asheville, Knoxville. Florence. Is there... I swear there's a Frankfurt round here somewhere. If there isn't, there should be. Goodness, this is frustrating. I really want to find it as well. I don't want to be beaten by this. Let's go down here if we can. This looks like another sort of national building. Old state capitol. Ah, interesting. The old state capitol. Again, this sort of all implies to me that it's one of the sort of northeastern states, because, you know, it's National Historic Landmark. It doesn't actually say what state we're in, though. Again, I think we're in the Carolinas or somewhere like that, because it looks like a northeastern state to me. I know that the Carolinas aren't sort of that far north anymore, but it just feels right, doesn't it? Oh, Kentucky. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, there we go. Right, it's on a sign there. If we've seen Kentucky before, I apologize. Let's get up there. Kentucky, right. This might have come up in a... I'm going to have to look through my videos and see if I've done a state map video. If not, there should be one coming up. Now, where is Frankfort, Kentucky? I'm looking at Kentucky now. Here is the western border. And it isn't there. So it's Louisville, Lexington, Mount Vernon. It's just not well, Huntington, maybe it's in the north. This is the edge of the state. And Cincinnati. What? I don't see it. Oh my goodness, this is killing me. I can't see it, and I'm honestly about to give up. So I'm definitely looking at the state of Kentucky. Yes, that is correct. We see that we are in Kentucky because of the sign. You would imagine that the state capital would appear on Google Maps at about this level. We've got, oh, Frankfurt. Oh my goodness. There we go. Okay. It goes to show I'm only human. And what can you do when you're looking at these things? Right, now we should have found the old state capitol building is there. And I think we saw, now where were we? We were at the top of a road by a roundabout, weren't we? And in fact, we'd come down over, did we cross over the river, or we crossed over a freeway at least, didn't we? Kentucky State University. That's a bit embarrassing now, because now I don't know exactly where we are. But let's go back to the beginning and just get that street first thing. Right, the state capitol building is to our south, and we went north into the town. So that puts us on the south side of the old state capitol. We'd possibly crossed over one of the main roads here, but Capitol Avenue sounds about right. Capitol Avenue, and there we are, a roundabout with the Kentucky State Capitol. Oof, we've found it, and we're at that roundabout. Thank goodness. Frankfurt, Kentucky. Well, I'll try and never forget that one, but who knows, no promises. We're just actually on the building side of this roundabout, so I'm going to put us there. Guess. Woo! Done. Next round. 3 out of 5. Let's keep going. Interesting. Another beautiful state capitol building. They really are magnificent. Now this flag is interesting. What state is that? I have a feeling that that is one of the Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana ones, but not sure. Let's see. You'd imagine that there should be a sign saying, "Welcome to the state capitol building of X state." But it doesn't seem that there is. It's a big old building. But it's not got, we're not at the sort of grand entrance of it all, are we? So I wonder, let's just go this way, see if we can find anything. No, doesn't seem like it, but there's plenty more buildings to come, so should be some things to see here, and the building will be on our left, won't it? Yes. Look at that, very princely looking building. So let us go and maybe try and exit through one of these roads, because this looks right. Now we've come to the sort of exit stroke entrance, the finance administration. There's a better view of that flag. Arkansas, Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. Arkansas. All right, interesting. So it wasn't what did I say? Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. Oh, close enough. We were in Arkansas. Now the question is, which is the state capital of Arkansas? Little Rock is the most famous city there. There's another Nashville and all sorts. I'm going to go with Little Rock on this one, because it sort of is geographically bang in the middle, and you'd imagine that historically then this might be where it was placed. MacArthur Historic District, Museum of Arkansas, Arkansas Korean War Memorial. We're possibly around here somewhere. Interesting. There are some street signs here. So this is 7th Street. And it's got there the sign LR. So I think Little Rock is correct. So yeah, that rings a bell then. And so we've got 7th Street up here. So we're close. And look at this, the Arkansas State Capitol. Yes, we found it. Okay, good. Well, that was a better round than in Kentucky, wasn't it? Now, we started somewhere about here, I think. Just going to go back to the beginning. And we're looking north. The building is to our east. And we're just ever so slightly north of the main grand steps here. So that the grand steps have got to be about in the middle there. So we're ever so slightly north of that. So, boom. We were correct there in sort of going for Little Rock as the main city without truly knowing it. Interesting. Another sort of, this is a pretty major city here now. It's got some pretty big buildings by it and so on. And just another absolutely fantastic building. I'm really enjoying this round, just in part because the architecture is so good. Don't recognize that state flag. Another blue background with a crest. But look at this. We've got a big column here. Onielid, May 13th, 1879, I think that says. And this writing, unfortunately, is too small to get. So, now look at the trees here. We've got these palms, for example. It's looking all a bit more tropical to me. It's not the California flag. So, okay. Dunno. We're going to have to go investigating. Now, we've got some absolutely huge skyscrapers here, so we're clearly in a pretty major town. Synovus. Okay. I wonder what this says here, because there is some more. Maine. Oh, yeah, about to spell that out. M-A-I-N. Maine, that says. So I guess we're on Main Street. Look, there's some other sort of federal-looking building, I don't know, state-looking buildings here. Who knows? But you know what I mean. Some sort of U.S.A, South Carolinian Library. Okay, great. Well, that sorts us out. Now, South Carolina. Given that I thought Frankfurt might be in South Carolina a moment ago, who knows? Now, here we are. We're looking at the state of South Carolina, and what do we see? Well, Columbia springs out as being the main place, but we've got Charleston, Florence, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, Anderson. I think Columbia is worth a quick glance, although it's almost too good to be true, I think, on this time round. I don't recognize U.S.C, University of... Oh, well then, look, there we go. University of South Carolina, Horseshoe, and South Carolina Library. So I think we're in the right place. Now we've got here the University of South Carolina, and we've got South Carolina State House. Fantastic. So look, we're going to be somewhere around here. Let's just go back to our guess, and we're looking north now. North, the building is actually to the south of us, isn't it? So if that's the State House, then that puts us on Gervais Street. Synovus Bank is there. So that's great, and I think we're in the right place. Does the Wig exist as a restaurant or bar? Now leasing. Possibly no longer. That says Columbia. Is this road called Columbia? I don't see it, unfortunately. Is this Main Street? Well, that says Main there. So I think we're in the right place. That's Main Street then that we're looking down, isn't it? I wonder if we can just get this street that we're on here. Yes, we can from over here. United Way and Gervais Street. Ah, hang on. So no, we're not there. United Way. That's Gervais Street heading away from us. What? That can't be right. Let's get over there and have a look at this again. Aha, this changes its name. Gervais Street and then Main. I thought United Way and Gervais Street were at 90 degrees to each other, but they are not. Look, that's definitely then where we are. So I think we've got that spot on. So that's good. Fantastic. Okay, so there we go. We now know that the South Carolina state capital is Columbia. Very good. Wow, look at this. Different architecture here. Much more... Well, I don't know what era that is. 60s, maybe? I'm not sure. But we're miles from the state capital here. It's blooming huge, though, isn't it? Look how big these buildings are. Just colossal. Makes you realise the size of the state government. What does this say here? Sequoia something building. Visitor parking. Embark in a kind of a strange looking logo there. So this is interesting now. Now the kind of landscape here is different again. It looks bleak. It looks Sequoia building, dock entrance. Oh, and look at this. We've got a nodding donkey here. This is an oil pump basically. Wow, above an oil well. So we're an oil country. Sequoia building again. Well, we're not in Texas because we know that the capital of Texas is Austin, and that's one of the few capital buildings that I've actually been to. Now, with a name like Sequoia, that sort of makes me think of, you know, Sequoia National Park, but I think the spelling there is different. It's an unusual spelling for the word Sequoia, which I don't quite recognize. So we're going to have to move on and get out of here, I think, and try and find something else. Let's just use these signs. Will Rogers, Sequoia, Connors, and Hodge. How strange. Now, the last time I left the state capital vicinity, we sort of lost it. That was for the Frankfurt, Kentucky one. So I'm conscious about going too far away here. We've got the Department of Agriculture coming up, and we can see here some more flags. Unusual blue here, very light blue. Lincoln Boulevard? That could be the city name, Lincoln. What does this say? Oklahoma's Credit Union. Okay, brilliant. And I think that confirms it here as well. Oklahoma's Credit Union. Yes, okay, good. So we're in the state of Oklahoma. And that's an interesting flag. One to remember that the lighter blue, I think... Oh no, maybe that's not it. Maybe it is a lighter blue colour. So Oklahoma. And Oklahoma fits with the oil well thing. There's definitely, you know, an oil presence in Oklahoma. Now the question is where again? Tulsa and Oklahoma City are the two big ones that spring out to me. I think it's got to be Oklahoma City, doesn't it? Let's just get a look in there and see what we can see. Now it says Capitol Hill here, for example, so you'd imagine that that is where we are, but Oklahoma State Capitol, there we go, bang, found it. And that's right, we saw the building kind of a long way away from us, and I think we were here because we started with these two curved buildings. We went east around North Lincoln Boulevard, and we've come down here, and we should see Oklahoma's Credit Union. So we're currently at this junction, but we started here. In fact, if we turn around, we should be able to look up the road behind us and see even further in the distance that state capitol building. So very good. Isn't it just magnificent and huge? But look, we're going to go back to the beginning, and no need to turn around here. I think we can triangulate exactly where we are by looking at these curved buildings here. We've got on our left the Oklahoma Tax Commission, and on our right the Oklahoma State Department of Education in this building over here. So there you go. Who would have known that before? Okay, let's go for the guess, and we are spot on. Good. So I don't know how long this video has been, but it certainly felt like a while trying to find the one in Kentucky, and that is where knowing your state capitals helps. But we had a good spread there from Vermont to Oklahoma, so I guess in the east mostly. But this is a map set to come back to. I've really enjoyed this one. The architecture, knowing your state capitals, it's not always the most obvious city in the state, as was with Kentucky, is another interesting thing. And yeah, just to explore those gorgeous buildings. And it's sort of is really what the states is all about, isn't it? The you know, each state having its own governance and sort of local structure is what the US is all about. So that's an enjoyable map, I think. Really good one, and one to come back to. I do hope you've enjoyed watching this video as much as I've enjoyed playing it. Thank you very much for doing so, and I'll see you in the next video.